So this is a Wi-Fi reversing camera for your car that can be conveniently mounted to the license plate. But that's not all, because it's also one of the very first 5G car Wi-Fi reversing cameras available in the world at the moment. It's really easy to install and set up, and it looks really good as well. And yes, the angle of the camera is adjustable. And once done, the camera can be connected to multiple devices and at the same time. It also has parking guidelines as well, which can be customized using the app, horizontally and vertically. And just when you think it can't get any better, it can, and it does. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hello and welcome to my channel, and I hope you like today's video. If you like smart home and automotive technology content, then hit that subscribe button, because that's what you're going to see on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing this 5G Wi-Fi car reversing camera, which, as you can see, is built into this 250mm long license plate bracket. So it can be mounted to, well, your car's license plate, which one, makes it a very easy way to install a reversing camera, and two, it makes the installation look clean and tidy as well, as opposed to other installation methods. And by the way, this license plate bracket is plastic, it is not a metal bracket. This is actually one of the first 5G Wi-Fi reversing cameras for a car that I've actually seen available. Well, at the time of this review at least anyway. So like the other Wi-Fi car reversing cameras available today, this one also connects to an app on your phone over a Wi-Fi connection, so that you can view the image from the camera on your smartphone or tablet or both. Yes, that's right. You can connect to this camera with multiple devices and view the image on your devices all at the same time, as I will show you later on in this video. This camera can be powered up from 9 volts to 24 volts, so it can also be used on trucks as well. And because this camera is Wi-Fi, the connection is very simple, because all you need to do is supply power to the red and black wires, and it's ready to use. So if you're going to use it as a reversing camera, then you can either connect it to a reversing light or a switch. Followers of this channel will already know that I have a reversing camera installed to the rear of my car already, which is this one right here. And I'm powering that rear view camera up using this little toggle switch down here. So I'm going to be connecting this 5G Wi-Fi camera to that same switch, so that both cameras turn on at the same time. Of course, alternatively, you could also connect it to the ignition wire of the car, so the camera is powered up constantly when the ignition is on. I will also add that it does clearly state in the user manual that the camera can also be powered up off USB, which is of course 5 volts, but I have not tested that out for myself. The resolution of this camera is 720p HD, and I have to admit the image is extremely nice and clear, especially when comparing it to other Wi-Fi cameras I've tested before. And of course, as you would expect, it also supports night vision as well, so we will of course be testing that out. It has a viewing angle of 160 degrees to cover the widest area of the rear of the vehicle as possible, and of course, because the camera is designed to be mounted on the outside of your car, it's also waterproof, and it's rated at IP68. One really great feature with this design is how the camera angle can be adjusted. What I mean is the camera can actually be manually moved using your hand to the angle you need it to be for your particular vehicle. It has an adjustable angle of approximately 45 degrees, tilting it downwards like that. You can tilt it upwards a little bit as well, such as that, but it's not really recommended as it will pull on the cable at the back. It's estimated to have a video transmission range of 30 to 50 meters, and while its main purpose is to be used as a reversing camera, it does not mean it cannot be used as a front view camera either, because it mounts to the license plate frame, so this means it can easily be mounted to the front or the rear of the car. The app itself also has some cool built-in features that you're really going to like. But to show you that, we first need to install the camera. So let's do that now, so I can power this camera up and then show you exactly how it works and what you can do with it. As I know a lot of you are going to have a lot of questions about this, so hopefully I can answer them all by the end of this video. Okay guys, so the first thing we need to do is mount the camera to the license plate. Because this license plate has quite a very high lip, like the frame of it is very high around the outside of it, it means I'm going to have to space this camera up a bit. Or it's going to sit at an angle which I don't like and I don't want. So I've got some washers, some bolts and some spacers, so I'm going to mount that to the license plate now, and I'll show you what that looks like in a few seconds. Okay guys, and the camera is now mounted to the license plate. As you can see, there is a bit of a gap, so I've spaced it out a bit just to clear the frame around the plate. I didn't notice before, but the bracket is actually slanted. It's actually thicker at the top than it is at the bottom, so it's going to face down a little tiny bit anyway, but because the camera angle is adjustable, it doesn't make any difference. And I've just attached it to the back with nylock nuts. So now it's time to put the license plate back onto the car, and then I'll just run the wires inside the tailgate so I can connect the wires up to the other camera, and then we're ready for testing. Okay, as you can see, the license plate is now mounted back to the car. The camera actually looks really good mounted there. The only thing I'm not happy about is these silver headed screws, so I'm going to have to try and find some black paint and blacken those out. It'll look a lot better if they were black. I didn't have any black screws in stock, so that's all I could use. So now I've got to remove this number plate light frame so I can get the wires inside the tailgate and connect them. So I'm going to do that now. And here we are inside the rear tailgate lid. Now I've just connected the 5G Wi-Fi camera to my existing camera wires, the power wires that is. So obviously red is power, black is ground. So now I've just got to put the car back together again. And now when I turn the switch on inside the car, both the rear view cameras will turn on at the same time, which is the way I wanted it to work. So I'm going to put the car back together now, and I'll see you at the front of the car. Okay, so the wires are all connected inside the car now. You can just see the wire going up there behind the number plate light frame. There is actually a gap behind there anyway, so I didn't need to file a hole or anything through it. It's a nice, smooth, comfortable fit. So now the app, which is called Joytrip, and I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is connect the Wi-Fi camera to the Joytrip app. Now, one cool thing about the Joytrip app is when you open up the app, the first thing it does is checks for a connection automatically with the camera, and if it can't find one, it will bring up a message such as that, saying please connect to device Wi-Fi. Now we need to turn on the camera, pull the switch back, and then we click on confirm. Okay, and this first one here that you see, car with a number after it, that's the name of the Wi-Fi camera. So we choose that one, connect to that, and then when we go back to the Joytrip app, the camera pops up on the tablet. I'm using a tablet just so it's easy for you guys to see rather than being on a phone, but I'm going to show you what we're working with both later on anyway. So this is the image displayed on the tablet from the Wi-Fi camera. I don't know how clear that is on camera to you guys, but it's actually a really clear image. So now it's time to show you some of the other features of this app. And I'm going to start with the parking guidelines, as you can see. Now, one really cool thing with this app is if you hold your finger down on the screen for like a second and a half, you'll see these lines come up along the top and down the side. This will actually allow you to adjust the height and width of the parking guidelines. So if we put our finger up on the top and we go down, you can see that the width of the parking guidelines is decreasing. If we go up again, go back out again, down, like that. Now if we use the one on the side, we can actually make it lower to the ground. I know, how cool is that feature? I have not seen that feature used on any other camera so far, and it's incredibly useful because you can set it up, you know, for your particular scenario. So inside your garage, you can set this up for the wall. Let's set it up so it goes straight to the wall, like that. And then it's perfectly set up just for when you're putting your car inside the garage. So you're going to know exactly how far you can go back to the wall after you use it a few times, of course. So yeah, that's one cool feature that you can do with this app. Now let me show you something else. Now maybe you don't want to use this as a car reversing camera. So if that was the case, then you don't really need these parking guidelines either. So you can actually turn them off. Go into the settings, go up to auxiliary reversing line, disable that. When we go back to the camera, the parking guidelines are gone. So this is useful if you're going to install the camera at the front of the car. Of course, unless you're going to use it as a front view parking camera, then you might need the parking guidelines as well. But if you do want to turn the parking guidelines off, that's how you do it. Okay, now let's say you've installed the camera and you've installed it upside down. Now, technically speaking, it doesn't really matter, apart from the problem of not being able to adjust the angle of the camera in the right direction. Because what you can do is you can actually change the image. horizontally and vertically. So let's just take note, we've got the black boxes on the right hand side in the image, and we've got Roma and Android's birdhouse on the left hand side. Now let's change that horizontally. To do that, we just go to video flip horizontal, disable that, go back to the camera, and you can see that the black boxes are now on the left hand side and Roma and Android's birdhouse is on the right hand side. Now you can also do this vertically as well. So go back into the settings again, we'll change that back to what it was before. Let's just make sure that's right. Yep, so that's the picture we had before. Now we can actually flip the picture upside down vertically as well. So back into the settings again, and we come down to video flip vertical, we enable that, and when we go back to the camera, the picture is now upside down. So yeah, that's another way you can actually change the image if you've installed the camera the wrong way around. But apart from, like I said before, you really do want to install it the correct way around, because you won't be able to manually adjust the camera, which will be a problem. Now that's pretty much it for the app. I mean, apart from video recording and taking pictures, and you can store that on the in the app as well if you wanted to do that. But that's a common feature you've probably all seen with other camera systems. They all have it, so I'm not going to bother showing you that. Let's go back into that. So yeah, as I can, so it's just the user manual left, which is not really that great to be honest. But you can go into that and just have a little tiny read up of the basics that you might want to know. And the other things, privacy policy and just the version of the app. So that's pretty much all there is for the app. Now I'm going to show you it working on multiple devices. Okay, so here is my Samsung Z Fold 3. The camera image is still being displayed on the tablet in the background there. So now when I open the Joytrip app on the phone, the camera is automatically displayed on the phone as well. So as I said before, you can display the image from the camera on multiple devices, but when I say multiple devices, I mean no more than 2 at once. I'll show you something now. Just getting my other phone here. So this is my other phone, and as you can see, it can't make a connection to the camera because the image is being displayed on 2 other devices already. Now even if I clicked on confirm on that message, it still would not connect. So the only way to get the image to display on this phone as well is to shut the image down on another one of the other phones, other devices, sorry. So let's try that. We'll close the app down on the phone, and then as you see, once we've done that, it automatically just loads the image up on the 3rd device. So that's pretty cool, eh? So then if we close the image down on this device as well, oops, and we go back into the Joytrip app on the Z Fold 3, the image will be automatically displayed back on the Z Fold 3 again. Now, those images on the phone and tablet screens probably do not look great to you. When I'm looking at it through my camera, it's very blurry around these areas here, and it's not. Seriously, these images are really, really high quality images. Even though it's only supposed to be 720p, you wouldn't really know it. So now we're going to go for a drive so I can show you what it's like outside, which will hopefully get rid of all this blurriness on the screens. So let's go. Okay guys, we're now outside in a car park, and I'm going to show you how this camera works basically for what it's designed to be used for, as a reversing camera. Now one thing I will just tell you about, well, first of all, the reason I've got it displayed on both screens is just 1, so you can see how stable the connection is, and 2, sometimes when you change things on one screen it's not going to change on the other, as I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to adjust these parking guidelines on the tablet to the size of the car park, and take note of what it does on the phone as well, because as you will see, it doesn't change. So that's one thing you should know about. You actually, if you're changing the parking guidelines, you make sure you do it on the device that you're actually using. So if you want to do it on both of them, then you're going to have to change them individually, like that. Now we're going to reverse back into the car park, see what happens. As you can see, when we get into the red area, it means we're getting very, very close. We'll stop right about there. So as you can see, it works actually really well for a reversing camera, which is good because that's what it is. And as you can also see, the connection between the two devices and the camera is very, very stable. And I don't know what the image looks like to you guys on your screen, but if it doesn't look clear, again, I'm telling you, it's very, very clear. I cannot believe this is 720p. Unless, of course, it's a mistake in the manual and it's actually 1080p. Because it definitely does look 1080p to me. But it does say it's 720p in the instruction manual, so... It's actually getting really dark out here, so I don't know how clear that is for you guys. Does it look clearer when I move the phone like that? No? Okay, anyway, let's try something else. Okay guys, I've just changed into a different position because the lighting is better here, so it makes it easier to see the screens. So, what I'm going to do now is reverse into that car park behind me, up to the blue rubbish bin. I'm just going to change the guidelines on both the devices to start with. So there it is on the phone, and just go a bit wider on the tablet. Okay, now it's set up perfectly on both devices. So let's back up to that blue rubbish bin and see what happens. And when I get closer to that bin, you're going to hear a loud beeping in the background. And that's just my ultrasonic parking radar sensors, which I've got built into the back of the car. Which is good because it gives you a perfect guide of how close you really are. Okay, so the camera says stop there. Actually, if you look at the Android Auto camera view as well, you can see it's really, really close to the rubbish bin. So as you can see, the system works really well. I just move forward out of the way because it's really loud. So yeah, this is quite possibly the best Wi-Fi reversing camera I have ever tested so far. The connection, even when you're trying to connect to the camera with multiple devices at the same time, is incredibly stable. It has not cut out a single time on me. Obviously, when you're installing the device, you want to make sure that the little area coming out of the camera is as far away from metal as possible. And as far as image quality goes, absolutely amazing. Even though it says it's 720p in the manual, I swear that has got to be 1080p at least. However, that may change when we do the night vision test, is that usually makes a big difference when testing out these cameras. So yeah, okay, it's going to get dark probably in about another hour and a half. So then we're going to do the night vision test. Another common question I get asked with reversing cameras is, do the parking guidelines turn when the vehicle turns? Because with a lot of the cameras they actually do that. It's actually amazing how many don't though, and this is one that doesn't. But just so you guys can see that for yourself, I'll put it into reverse and I'll turn it out of this car park space so you can see that the parking guidelines don't move. They stay straight at all times. Like that. Okay guys, and just before it gets really dark, I'm just going to do one more demonstration. And this is incredibly important to know if you're using this as a reversing camera, which most of you will be because that's what it's designed for. So if you have the camera wired up to your reversing light or reversing switch, this means the camera is only going to power up when the car's in reverse. As soon as you take the car out of reverse, the power connection to your camera is going to be lost, and the Wi-Fi connection between your camera and the device is also going to be lost, or devices if you're using more than one. So let me demonstrate. So I'll turn the power switch off, which is the same thing as taking it out of reverse. And as you will see, the images are now lost on both screens. Now, we've got to wait for the camera to connect to the device again before we can see what's behind us, before we start reversing. And this is where it can be frustrating, because sometimes this can take quite some time to connect. So let me demonstrate. So I'll put the car into reverse, which is the same thing as turning the switch on. And we go back up to the devices. Now I want to reverse into that car park space behind me now, but I can't because I can't see what's behind me. So I've got to wait for that camera to connect to the device. Now as you can see, that wasn't, okay. Now it's connected to both devices. So as you can see, that wasn't too long, but sometimes it will take a lot longer than that. Like you can be sitting there for several seconds before it will connect. So although it's designed to be used as a reversing camera. As you can see, the way you power the camera up is important, because if it's powered up off the reversing light switch, or the reversing light, as soon as you take the car out of reverse, you're going to lose power and you're going to lose the connection. If you had it connected to the ignition all the time, that means that when you start the car up in the morning, and say you're going to go for a long drive, you can connect to the camera straight away then, and that connection is going to be there all the time, even if the app is just running in the background and you're not even on that screen on your device. So what I'm trying to say is, using it as a reversing camera and powering it up off the reversing switch is not always going to be the fastest way to make a connection when you really need it. Okay guys, it's now really dark and we're going to do the night vision test. And I'm not going to lie, I'm expecting really good results from this camera. Only because it's been so impressive through the daytime, I'm guessing the night vision resolution is going to be equally as good. So let's put it into reverse, back up to this big truck behind me, and see if I'm right. Stop there. And I am right. The night vision of this Wi-Fi camera is awesome. Look how clear that license plate is. We can even compare that to the Android Auto system as well, which is using the other camera, which is a wired camera. And the Wi-Fi camera is actually a little bit better. And then if we drive forward a little bit, I have another camera set up at the back of the car as well, which is connected to my Jan sight mirror, which is up here. And it's even better than that. This camera cannot be 720p surely. That is really, really good night vision. I've never tested a camera at night time that's given results as impressive as that. Okay guys, and that brings us to the end of another video. And that's how this 5G Wi-Fi car reversing camera works. Now yes, it is designed to be used as a reversing camera, that's what it is. But as you've seen, it can also be very frustrating to use as a car reversing camera, due to the slow connection speed between the camera and the device when the camera has lost power and you've just put the car back into reverse again. Now the truth is, you're not going to be able to buy a Wi-Fi car reversing camera, any of them, that's not going to have that problem. That's just the way a Wi-Fi camera works. You have to wait for a connection between the camera and the device to be made. So for that reason, I highly recommend this product. For two reasons. One, the stability of it. The connection between the camera and both those devices have been stable throughout this entire review, and I have not lost connection once. I have not seen any distortion in the images at all on either of the devices. The image resolution is incredible. Yeah, comparing it to other cameras which I've tested and reviewed in the past, this is definitely the best Wi-Fi car reversing camera I've ever used. So guys, I'm going to leave the review at that. If you like this review, please like, share and subscribe to the channel, where you can watch even more videos, which I upload every week. So I hope to see you all in the next video.